Hi, everyone. This is the Hacker News HawkerBot team, consisting of myself, Phil Kim, and fellow interns Xiangmin Mo and Ricardo Rodrigues, with help from our mentor, Eric. So the problem that we wanted to address is, as everyone knows, we're constantly inundated with information, particularly being in tech, where things evolve so rapidly, it can be challenging to keep up, even on topics that we're keeping tabs on, have reminders for, etc. Um, and we may use sites such as Hacker News or Reddit to rely on aggregation and things like that. But as much as we enjoy them, these sites that aggregate do have limited search functionality. Um, and then, in general, and it's human nature just to want to filter out for your interests. So we decided to use the Hacker News API to address this issue. For those of you that don't know, Hacker News is a social news website that focuses on computer science and entrepreneurship. And though most of its posts relate to computer science, the criteria for a post is anything that satisfies one's intellectual curiosity. Hacker News API, per their documentation, breaks out their endpoints based on things like timeline or topic. For example, you have job story, which will return job applications, news story, which returns most recent stories, which is what Hacker News calls posts, and etc. So as an overview, we've decided to build a Discord bot. And in doing so, we've included a few commands, our primary command being our news command. And we built it to take two parameters. The first being the story type as defined from Hacker News, which you saw on the previous page. And instead of having the user type out the whole thing, such as job type, job story, news story, etc., we just shortened it, as you see in the screenshot, to job, new, top, best, and show. And then we added a second parameter, topic, which is a key term that the bot will scrape the results titles for and return those to the user.
Great. Hi, I am Xiangmin Mo. In addition to what Phil said about the purpose of our bot, we really wanted to approach this project with a modular mindset. So therefore, in regards to our project structure, in our root directory, we have a proc file for connecting to Heroku, a requirements file that contains all of the libraries and packages used, a README, and a general git ignore for Python projects. The main file for our application is the bot.py file. In the actions folder, it contains the commands, and it checks to see if the user has used the commands properly. The Hacker News folder holds the configurations for those commands, which consists of a list of topics to choose from, and methods that not only retrieve data, but also returns the related stories that the users have requested. So moving on to the architecture, since this is a Discord bot that fetches stories from the Hacker News website, we use the Discord API and the Hacker News API. For source control, we used GitHub. Additionally, we used GitHub Actions for continuous integration and Heroku for continuous development. GitHub Actions will specifically check for any merge conflicts when there is a push or pull to the master branch. Then, Heroku will wait for continuous integration to finish before deploying the Discord bot, which was coded using discord.py. Now we will talk about a more detailed version of our architecture. It essentially shows us what the bot does after a command is inputted. So once the user enters a command, the bot will first check if the command exists in our code. If it doesn't exist, then nothing will happen. Otherwise, the bot is capable of checking if the existing commands are used properly. We have a total of 3 commands, and the first one is !topics. it returns a list of available topics to search for. Then we have exclamation point story types, um, and it returns a list of story types that are available on Hacker News. And instead of running our main command, in our example, we will use the exclamation point help news command to show how the command is used, or the main command is used. But once our main command is called, the bot has the capability of checking if the inputted story type and topic exists. And if they do exist, the bot is capable of retrieving the first 100 IDs from the Hacker News API of the specific story type. Then, the bot is capable of coloring the embed based on the story type. For example, best stories will be in gold, and top stories will be in aqua, as shown in the example. Afterward, the bot is capable of matching the user inputted topic with the title of the current items. And then the bot is also capable of limiting the number of articles returned. So once there is a match, the bot will add a field into the embed, and if there is no match, it will continue moving on to the next ID until it reaches the end of the list. So once there are a total of 3 matches, or if the bot reaches the end of the list, the bot will send an embed with up to 3 titles and their respective URLs, as shown in the example. So moving on to the CI/CD process, it was our first time using CI/CD, so we decided to use GitHub Actions for continuous integration and Heroku for continuous delivery. So the reason behind using GitHub Actions for continuous integration is because we were already using GitHub for source control, and we figured it would be convenient to use GitHub Actions since it was already in GitHub. Additionally, GitHub Actions is still pretty new, and because there are a lot of people still contributing to GitHub Actions, there are a lot of pre-existing workflows to help us get started and help us get familiar with the whole continuous integration process. And if you want to run the bot on your own guild, there are 2 options. The first option is to host it yourself, and this way you have you have the ability to make your own changes. So what you would have to do is fork the repository, and then clone the forked repository onto your local machine if you do want to make changes. Then you must create a .m file, which should contain your bot's authentication token provided by Discord. And then you would have to either host it locally or on the cloud via Heroku or AWS, etc. And the second option is to invite our bot to your guild as per our master branch using the link in the slides.
So throughout this past month, there have been quite a few lessons learned. The first really came from us making a early decision to always pair program, or as much as possible, being in this virtual only environment. And that really built our collaboration skills and ability to kind of speak up and converse with one another. And in doing so, we also realized that just flexible communication and planning is critical, especially in a virtual environment where we, have our own schedules and live in different time zones. And as many of you likely feel, every time we do a project that includes source control, it always just reiterates its importance and how handy it can be to save yourself from a potentially bad situation. And then something that we'll be doing moving forward, and we advise everyone else, is to always just take time to review APIs you're interested in, how their endpoints are structured, and what kind of capabilities you can imagine pulling from that data. Coming into this project, we had a lot of grand ideas as to what we would want to do with the Hacker News API, but ultimately, as we started coding and dug deeper, we found that the API response just wasn't quite as robust as we had wanted. So just take the time to do that research yourself. Moving on to further work, something that we had been discussing is, to really improve the search capabilities. Right now, as you saw, our search terms rely on a static hard-coded list of terms. Something that we would want to do in the future is build a script that scrapes all of the titles for the first 100 or so responses, generate a list of keywords based on that, fresh every day. That way you can always have a list of pertinent topics daily, so that there are always results. And then potentially the ability to also simultaneously search for synonyms or related terms to the user's keywords, since it's often in technology that our words or keywords don't match exactly. And then other things just around bots in general, creating more commands to add personalization and our utility options, improving just error displays and messaging to the user, since there's no human element to it to walk them through it, and then setting up the bot so that it only listens on specific channels. Right now, if you were to implement it, the bot would respond to the commands in any channel, which can create clutter in guilds. And we've also included our contact information, LinkedIn and GitHub where applicable, and a link to our repo if you wanted to take a look at it. Please feel free to connect with us, reach out, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.